All respect, Frank, Stephen, all respect, but Paul Scholes is my favorite one.
Yeah? Why?
I love it. I think he had everything.
Paul Scholes is your favourite player's favourite player. He was Manchester United's midfield magician for 2 decades, an 11-time English champion and 2-time European champion. But no one, not even Scholes himself, would have predicted the heights that he would reach. Born in Salford in Greater Manchester, Scholes was a small asthmatic kid, but what he lacked in physicality, he made up for in technique.
His first touch for an 11-year-old was quite amazing. The power of his shot for an 11-year-old was quite amazing.
After impressing at school, he began training with Manchester United at 14. And again, he was unremarkable until he had the ball at his feet.
And he was talented, but at the time he was so thin and so... You didn't really think much of him. You didn't look at him and think, oh, that's going to be the best midfield player in the next 20 years in this country.
I first met him when he came down for trials, and I just thought, I can't believe what I'm seeing with this little guy. He's only about 3 foot tall, you know, and all that business. I thought, he seems to be up there with Giggsy.
I don't think when you look at that youth team, I don't think it was Paul Scholes you would point to and say, that guy is going to play for 20 years in the team.
Because of his lackluster athleticism and the life he was leading at the time, Scholes himself never believed he would make it as a professional.
I was never built to be a footballer. I remember once, probably 16, 17, 18, when I was with the youth team, with Eric Harrison, he rang me dad and said, we're a bit worried about Paul's drinking. And I always remember my dad saying, he said to him, he's allowed to enjoy himself, innit? That's what I was brought up, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes on a Monday, was going out.
Was you drinking how many times a week? I didn't know that myself.
Oh, I didn't tell him about anything, did I?
He did eventually change his ways as he got closer and closer to the first team, impressing in United's 1992-93 FA Youth Cup victory, alongside the likes of Ryan Giggs, David Beckham, Nicky Butt and the Neville brothers, in what would come to be known as the Class of '92. Scholes would be given his senior debut by Sir Alex Ferguson on the 21st of September 1994, as he would go on to score a brace in a 2-1 victory against Port Vale in the League Cup. He made his mark, and would begin to see regular first-team action in the years to come. He became known as a midfielder who scored like a striker, and a midfielder who tackled like a psycho.
When I actually first played with him, it was against Marine, and I was a bit concerned about all these young lads being booted about by these big scousers. And in the first 5 minutes of the game, Scholes, he went straight through this centre half, and I thought, he has really got a chance.
He always tackled me really bad at training, and he don't know to tackle. He's really clumsy, and I was like, Scholes, why? What I have done to you? Did I owe you some money? And his answer was always, why not, Patrice?
He would win his first FA Cup in 1994 and his first Premier League in 1996, but he was without European silverware. That was until 1999, where he would get his hands on all 3. He scored in the FA Cup final against Newcastle and in the Champions League quarter-final against Inter, but his rash tackling got the best of him in the semi-final against Juventus, picking up a yellow card that saw him miss out on the final.
It was disappointing, yeah, not to be part of it. Meanwhile, I obviously got medals, but it doesn't really, that medal, it's not as if you've won that medal.
As humble as they come, he only ever cared about football.
The world now, there's Twitter and there's this Facebook, and you know, what's the point in telling people what you're doing? Why?
But his humility also affected his England career. With the midfield options of Paul Scholes, Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard, the 3 Lions won nothing, with Paul even being shifted out to the left wing to accommodate the other 2, seeing his club career and family life as more important. He ended up retiring from international duty in 2004.
He's a brilliant player. England should have got a lot more out of Paul Scholes. Other countries will build teams around Paul Scholes.
Back at club level, he went from strength to strength, and he finally had a striker as intelligent as he was in Ruud van Nistelrooy, as the pair struck up a telepathic partnership.
I love playing with Ruud. I knew what he wanted without speaking to him, if you know what I mean.
Scholes scored a career-high 20 goals in the 02-03 season as the trophies continued piling up. He dictated the game for Manchester United with his laser-guided passes and his on-field awareness. His 06-07 campaign saw him nominated for the PFA Player of the Year, losing out to teammate Cristiano Ronaldo, but at least he was finally getting some recognition.
Paul Scholes was just ahead in his head. He he was making them tick. He was making Man United tick. Every time we were playing them, we needed to find a way to stop him.
He's without doubt one of the best we've ever had. Absolute question about that.
The touch of Scholes was different. I mean, how he impacted the ball, 30 meters, and the ball, how it goes through the grass, you know. I mean, this was magical.
Naturally, Scholes was unbelievable, wasn't he? Yeah. At England, he done things that I've not seen many players do.
I thought, yeah, I can see what the hype's about. But all of them, of course, Lampard, all that lot, but Scholes was the one. Technically, it was just like...
ABC.
Yeah, man. Easy.
It was a dream to play next to him.
For me, he ticks every box. And if I had to pick, you know, a handful of top midfielders of my generation, he's certainly up there alongside the Xavis and your Iniestas.
His chance for European glory in his eyes would come again in 2008, beating Barcelona by a 0-0 in the semi-final with the finest goal of his career.
Or the Barcelona 2008.
That was a miss kick.
Or not. Either way, he managed 87 minutes in the final against Chelsea, as United would win on penalties in the Moscow rain, and he could finally say he had earned his medal. He would continue running the midfield at Old Trafford in the years that followed, finally completing his collection of English trophies, winning the League Cup in 2009 and 10. And no matter how much the team changed around him, you couldn't disrupt the genius of Scholes.
Sometimes in training I'm just laughing, because it's just almost not possible what he's doing with the ball. He's always calm, always the boss of the situation, wherever he is in.
One touch to touch for him is so easy. The way he plays is beautiful. You learn a lot.
He prematurely retired from football in 2011, but less than a year later he was back in a red jersey due to an injury crisis in midfield. And as a local lad, it was fitting for him to return during a 3-2 win over Manchester City.
All I knew growing up was you have a City fan or a United fan. Liverpool was a big game, yeah, but City was always the one for me. Even when they were in League One, whatever they were in, they were always the one.
The last roll of the dice, and it's a goal from Paul Scholes. They've won it, Manchester United. They've rolled the dice.
He would stay on till the end of the 2012-13 season, going out with Sir Alex as Premier League champions.
It all ends for Paul Scholes on 717 appearances, 155 goals, countless great memories, and 20 major trophies.
Just what a wonderful player. What a wonderful player.
After 19 top-flight seasons, he was United through and through, with Inter Milan being the only team brave enough ever to try to sign him. He will be remembered as a footballing legend. Not that it matters to him, though.
How would you like to be remembered?
Don't care. People remember how they want to remember you, don't they? As a good footballer, I suppose, that's it. Don't care about anything else.